Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Great time to bring on Mike Triplett, New Orleans Football. Get a little reaction convo. Mike, how are you, man?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Appreciate it as always. I think the question everyone pondering, why were you not in the scheduled release video?
New Orleans football was well represented. We didn't want a full takeover. Come on, man.
I feel like you've been in the market longer than Nick has, so I kind of feel like it should have been you there, man. I don't know.
Well, I think I need the anger guy to bring this up.
Now this would have been a really good angle for Coach Rob, whatever they called him. I
storm into the room and I say, "Hey, why didn't anyone tell me about that?"
Or he could have just been like, "Hey, why isn't Triplett here? That's a terrible question. Next time, only Triplett gets to come in here." That would have been a good thing to do, you know? I'm just saying.
Well, look, I'm glad you were thinking of me.
I'm just giving the creative liberties here to the Saints creative staff. They need it. Okay, so schedule's out. Biggest takeaway? What did you think?
Well, welcome to reality, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
One of only 3 teams with no primetime games, and as it should be, they're not good right now. But I was a little surprised at some of the reaction to that. The Saints are doing what a lot of us, well, I should say I've wanted them to do for about a year now, and a lot of fans have wanted them to do for about 3 or 4 years now, and that's take a step back and rebuild and reset and don't spend too much money and go with a cheap rookie quarterback. And they're doing it now. And there is maybe a little be careful of what you wish for with that. It's going to be tough to watch for a little while. But you got to do that if you're going to push a reset button. And I think it'll be, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the fact that 5 or 6 or 7 wins might be exciting as long as it means the young players are showing progress and they're winning games they're not supposed to. Expectations really, set your mind for everything. But welcome to this reality. The Saints are on the bottom right now.
With Cleveland and Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's been 25 years, Mike, since the Saints last went.
Well, look, that number is getting thrown around a lot, but they just changed a rule last year where every team was required to have a Thursday game for so long. So it might have it wouldn't have happened to this team, but part of the reason that the streak was so long is because every team was required to have a Thursday game for a long time. But the Saints probably would have had a primetime game regardless during that entire stretch. Obviously, the Saints agrees.
That's fair. You could go back. The Katrina year obviously would have been one of the. I mean, it was a miserable season, but at that point, the Saints were still fairly closely removed from a playoff appearance with,
yep.
God bless Aaron Brooks. And I'd rather not invoke those names and all those memories, but that's it feels like it's where they are. Mike, do you feel like, so I agree with you that they're doing what you said, what many others have said, which is it's time to reset. And, but do you think this is something that they are doing of their own volition or something that circumstantially was forced upon them down this path?
Both, mostly the second part. I mean, they would never want to be the tear down team. They don't ever want to be the Browns, Panthers, Jets. Who am I forgetting? A couple of those things. The Bears, the teams that just never get it right for decades and decades. They believe more in the, be like the Ravens, the Steelers, the Packers, the Chiefs, the Eagles. Your down years are 7-win seasons, and then you have a good draft, and you're back to winning division titles again. That's their belief. But they have not gone on any spending sprees. I mean, their last 2 free agent periods have been, a couple of guys that did not cost much. Last year it was basically just Chase Young, and this year it was basically just Justin Reed and a trade for Devon Godshaw. They haven't traded a, future first-round pick in a couple of years. They didn't trade up once this year for the first time in a long time. So I think there is a recognition in clutching and using those resources to rebuild this roster, but they did not intend to tear it down quite the way they have with no quarterback all of a sudden.
Yeah. Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. You can get him at Mike Triplett. What stretch on the schedule looks most daunting?
I mean, the beginning. There's a lot of easy games on the schedule. They have the second easiest schedule in the entire NFL because they're in the NFC South and because they're playing the fourth place schedule. But I think two of their hardest home games are the Cardinals and the 49ers, and they have to get them in weeks 1 and 2. And then their first two road trips, they're all the way across the country at Seattle and all the way across the country at Buffalo. So that's a tough stretch to start the season when you probably really want to put a couple wins under your belt, get buy-in, get momentum, get some energy. If they're going to win games, they're going to be tough to come by in the first month of the season.
Yeah. If you flip it and ask what's more manageable, what part of the schedule do you think, okay, they could probably sneak out a few there?
Yeah, I mean, right after that, home against the Giants, home against the Patriots, and later you get the Panthers twice, later you get the Jets. There's a lot of later you get the Titans. You get to play a lot of last place teams as this season goes on, starting right away with weeks 5 and 6. But it starts a little tough.
They also avoid the road cold weather games during the cold weather months.
Yeah,
that's good, right? The Florida teams are late in the season.
The two things I always look for, during the last 18 years of covering a team that was expected to contend for the division title is cold weather games and short week travel weeks. There's nothing worse than the Monday night game on the road, and then you got 5 days to play the next game, or the Thursday night game in Arizona, or the Thursday night game in LA. A lot of those, man, this is awful kind of travel weeks. And there's none of those in this season. But if you don't play on Thursday nights, you don't play on Monday nights, you got full week of rest all season long.
What do you think about the bye in week 11?
Perfect. I mean, the later the better, I'd say. So, I mean, it's just about everything you'd handpick is handpicked, except for, like I said, the opponents early on. One thing I would like to do is, maybe knock off one of those road trips early. Getting the 2 home games in the first 2 weeks of the season, if you're not ready to take advantage, then that means the rest of the season you've got all 9 of your road games still to come. So, you got to take advantage of get home in weeks 1 and 2. You got to be ready to take advantage. That's the one thing I would probably tweak if I got to handwrite my own schedule.
We also saw over at DraftKings that the Saints are favored with the early lines in just one game, the game against the Jets. If I asked you today, I'm not going to clip this and hold you to it forever. I'm just curious, looking at it the way, have you done the whole scribble a double
no,
UNL?
I mean, we just don't know enough about this team to do that. But I picked 5 wins just because it's hard not to win 5. I mean, this team was a mess in the second half of last season when they had no Eric McCoy, no Chris Olave, no Marshawn Lattimore, no whoever else I'm forgetting the list that they didn't have. And they went into Tampa Bay with Spencer Rattler and damn near beat the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. They spotted the Washington Commanders an entire first half with Jake Haener before he got pulled. They almost beat the team that went to the Final Four. You're going to win a couple you don't deserve to win. You're going to beat a Giants or a Jets or a Titans or a Patriots. So they're going to win games. I don't think they're going to be a 1-16 team. I was a little surprised they're not favored at home against New England and the Giants. I don't think they're really worse than them. I think people kind of forget that this team isn't a total disaster. I think a lot of people look at quarterback, but they get all those guys back healthy. I mean, Chris Olave and Eric McCoy, they could have an actual good offensive line. Alvin Kamara and DeMario Davis. I mean, when healthy, this team shouldn't just be getting trampled by other bad teams.
One thing is for certain: the conversation has shifted dramatically that we're having about this team, and it will be. It's going to be a different kind of season watching them as they play it out. But we'll be here for it. He's Mike Triplett. He'll be there for it at Mike Triplett and NewOrleans.football, NewOrleans.football. Always appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.